Alright, this is a test of my Tallboy, Santa Cruz Tallboy bike. Just a short circuit. We'll see how it goes. We're starting with a technical climb. This is riding up, is it Zax or is it Bali's? I always get confused between two names. But yeah, we're in Makara Peak, Wellington. Temperature is quite cool today. It looks like it's been raining, but it hasn't. It's just been damp. Looks like it's going to rain though. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning. I've been sick for what seems to be an eternity, probably a good 6 or 7 weeks now, so you just have to bear with me. Not as fit as I usually am, probably hear me panting a bit. Running my Tallboy 1x10, that's a 32 on the front, we're up to an 1136 on the back. I find that pretty sufficient for riding up everything. I find I don't really probably need that 42 or 40. Hey, cheers. So this trick was originally meant to be downhill, but it pretty much seldom gets ridden, although we just saw somebody then. I find this is a great uphill track for getting into the park easily. So Tallboy's a pretty good climber. I think that's where this bike excels over a lot of other bikes. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling too well today, as you can probably hear. And I think, although I'm cleaning all this, I may not be on one of my other bikes. Not today. How I'm feeling. Oh. This bike I pretty much use as, okay, This bike I pretty much use as my race bike. It's nice and light, it's fast, climbs great. Unfortunately I'm not climbing great at the moment. Alright, I think we're at the top of this track anyway. So as I was saying, yeah, this is pretty much my bike that I use for when I'm racing. It's nice and light, great climbing, got some pretty lightweight kit on it, apart from I run platform clip pedals and a dropper post, just things that I'm fairly comfortable with, more comfortable. I've always been a put my seat down sort of person ever since I been biking. Just have to give you a bit of a pre-warning that tyres due for replacement. I've got a front tyre at home that I need to stick on. Went for something with a bit of a wider profile. I run the Schwalbe racing rails. I've got that again, but a wider one. Need to get something for the back as well. Hopefully these tyres won't compromise today's ride. All right. So this is a 2012 Santa Cruz Tallboy, Generation 2, 29A as you know. I'm not sure if there was really much difference between the Gen 1 and the Gen 2s. Obviously new paint jobs. Doesn't have the, still has the 135 axle, not like the newer Tallboys do at the front, at the back. Out here. So I've just checked some fairly recent additions on this bike. Originally when I got it, I swapped out the Fox Kashima shock for a Rock Shock Monarch, which had a slightly harder factory tune compression, as I thought this would be key for racing. And everyone was sort of saying that the Fox Kashima wasn't so good on this bike, and the Monarch made a huge difference. So yeah, been happy with that for a few years, and while I still have that shock, I've now picked up a Fox Kashima CCT shock, which they say that the CCTs aren't quite as good as the RP23s were, which is unfortunate, but I've put that in here. I never actually tried this bike with the Kashima RP23. I just swapped the shock as soon as I got it, pretty much. So it left me wondering what it felt like with the original shock, or original feeling shock by Fox. And for quite some time now I've been trying to track one down, and yeah, one came up fairly recently for not much, and chucked it in. So this is probably my first ride with the Kashima Fox shock. So like the original, has a low factory compression, so that means it's just a bit more, it's not much more, not really too much compression, goes through its travel a bit easier, not quite as stiff. Although these shocks do have 3 settings of compression, so it's fully open. It's like trail, which is a little bit of compression, and then climb mode, which is meant to be a bit more. But in reality, when you've got a low factory tuned compression shock, between the 3 settings you don't really notice much of a difference. Maybe this bike is a bit harder to climb with this different shock in it, coupled with me being sick. Quick to get to the top, as you can see. I think that took me 13 minutes. Downhill's a bit longer, so that's good. So I actually had that shock set on climb mode, chucking it on trail now. Let's catch my breath and we'll get going.